everyone, it's Dr. Trish. It's Dr. Trish from Central Park. So what else is new? We've been coming to you a lot from Central Park lately. And I am here with my best buddy, my canine companion, Mr. Benjamin. Give a shout out to Mr. Benjamin. Benjamin, say hi to everybody at home or wherever they are. Anyhow, he's not going to say hi to you. He's checking out something else. It could be a squirrel or most likely a furry female friend. Anyhow, I'm here with you today. Give you a little view of our surroundings. I'm here with you today on the east side near the sailboat pond on December 18th. A warm December 18th. That's a sailboat pond where, in warmer weather, you have sailboats. Remote-controlled sailboats. And over to our left here is a view of the green roof of the boathouse, and beyond, which you can't see, is Venice in New York, where the rowboats are and the gondola is, which is why I call it Venice in New York. Anywho, back at you just to give you some thoughts to ponder that I have been writing about lately, and I actually love to think about it. It's one of my favorite topics. So hoping you'll find it interesting too. One of my favorite topics is consciousness. Consciousness. And I recently wrote a post that I titled Consciousness, Just What If? Mr. Benjamin is, you are just so academic and intellectual with these ideas. You just gotta take a break and have some fun. He says I think too much. Sometimes that's true. Anyhow, consciousness, just what if? Just what if? Just what if consciousness, and it's a word that's used a lot lately with varying meanings. Just what if consciousness, Benjamin's trying to get my attention here with the left paw shake. I'm sorry, Booby, I don't have any treats for you right now, but we're going to go back to our home office and we will give you some treats. Just what if consciousness were what the ancient religions have taught us that it is, or suggested that it is, and what modern science is now suggesting. And I'll put it to you this way. Just what if consciousness were non-local? Meaning it doesn't reside in our brain. Just what if consciousness were non-local? It doesn't reside in our brain. And actually, what if it didn't reside in our physical body either, for that matter? What if it weren't limited to us in terms of three-dimensional space as we think of space, the way we think of space? And also, what if consciousness transcended our concepts, or not our concepts, but really how we understand time? How we understand time. We human beings, we experience time in a particular fashion, a linear fashion. So I'm looking at my video screen here and I see it's 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Gee, it's getting long. I should try to wind it down. You know, I do like to talk about this stuff. And now it's 3:54, and now it's 3:57. And in our worldview, we human beings understand time to be linear, meaning 4:03 is before 4:05 is before 4:07. But what if consciousness transcended even our understanding of linear time? It transcended even our understanding of linear time. Benjamin, we're almost done. I just want to leave everybody with a couple more thoughts to ponder. So I'm going to offer that those ancient wisdom traditions have these notions of consciousness, that it's non-local, that it doesn't reside in our brains, in between our ears and our skull, or even in our body, and that it does transcend our concepts of linear time. And in fact, the real nature of time is beyond our conception of linear time. And then what if? What if? What if? What if? What does all that mean? Let me say one more thing. I hope I'm not getting too esoteric and abstruse here. And if I am, I would love your feedback, because I need to have help in making these ideas more accessible, because they are really simple ideas, and sometimes I may be using not the most accessible language to explain my point. Also, modern science also, and interestingly, and I'm so enthusiastic to say, has come to find through a lot of really good research that these notions of consciousness that evolved from ancient wisdom aren't so far off. In fact, we have really veritable modern science nowadays to support these notions of consciousness that ancient wisdom has offered us. For example, there is a vast body of research in parapsychology. It's good research, it's peer-reviewed literature. There's a vast body of research in mind-body medicine. There's some fascinating research that's been done by physicists and engineers on the power of thought, of the power of intention to affect the material world. And this research suggests that our thoughts can affect the material world beyond us, and not just in the same space and time where we are trying to affect the material world around us. In other words, our thoughts can travel forward in time. They can affect future events. And this is going to get you. This is going to grab you. This is really hard to wrap our heads around. Such stuff as dreams are made of. It's even harder for me to wrap my head around it. Our thoughts can affect events that have already happened. I'll save all those details for another time. Also, there is a wide body of research in out-of-body and near-death experiences. In out-of-body and near-death experiences, done by really good scientists, done by scientists, psychologists, physicians, published in the peer-reviewed literature, that support, again, these ancient notions that consciousness isn't in between my ears or even in my body. And this research suggests that consciousness transcends bodily birth, the physical birth that we experience coming into this earth, becoming an inhabitant of this orb, and it transcends physical death. So it exists prior to our birth, and it exists after we leave our bodies. So what does all that mean? What does all that mean? I would like to offer that what it means, if we could wrap our heads around these ideas. And I'll mention a little parenthetically that my profession of Western medicine has a really hard time wrapping our heads around these ideas. And we also don't read the literature most typically of other disciplines. We don't read the literature of engineers or parapsychologists or physicists doing this consciousness research. So we aren't able to dialogue and even consider these possibilities. We have a certain cosmology with a certain belief system, and these ideas challenge. They're not congruent with our belief system, so we basically reject them. Anyhow, what I'd like to offer is, if we could wrap our heads around these ideas, if consciousness preceded our physical existence, if it existed after we die, what does it mean for the reality of our lives, of our experience? How might we live differently? How might we even experience illness, dying, and death differently? If we knew that perhaps some aspect of our essential being didn't end with death, and that some aspect of the essential being of those people that we've lost in physical form, our loved ones, parents, spouses, siblings, children, dogs, cats, animal companions, if they didn't disappear from our lives completely, if there was some essential aspect that still existed, how might that change how we experience being alive? Being alive, how might it change how we experience illness, dying, and death? I would like to offer you, and Benjamin is really kind of getting bored here because I'm looking at my timer and it's been 10 minutes already, guys. If you're still with me, thanks for hanging on. And if you got bored, well, and you're still hanging on, give me a heads up, give me a shout out, and I'll really work on this presentation and to say it more succinctly. Let me just finish with several more thoughts. If we could wrap our heads around these ideas that are really such stuff as dreams are made of, perhaps we might be fearless in the face of illness, dying, and death. Perhaps we might be fearless in the face of illness, dying, and death. And my profession is really good at disease thinking. And my profession tends to think of disease, illness, dying, and death as bad, not good, and tends to create an environment of fear around illness, dying, and death. And in fact, that environment of fear around illness, dying, and death, take a peek at what's going on. That environment of fear around illness, dying, and death is actually a risk factor for illness, dying, and death. Fear can make us sick and keep us sick, and it can kill us. Yeah, we're all going to die. I know, we're all going to die. We're all going to leave our bodies, some of us with a bang, some of us with a whimper. But if we could be fearless in the face of illness, dying, and death, I offer that we would probably live better, and we would experience illness, dying, and death better. And when we were ill, we might be more likely to return to our body, to a state of well-being, than leave it. Because as I said, fear is a risk factor for illness, dying, and death. So let me stop here. There's one last view of the sailboat pond from afar. And just offer you this notion. What if some aspect of our essential being didn't end when we die, and did not experience its complete genesis when we were born? How might that change how you experience being alive? How might that affect how you experience being alive? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback on these musings, and also your thoughts and feedback on this video. If we need to work on, Benjamin and I, a more succinct form for this topic. Signing out from Central Park, December 18th, 2017, a very mild December day. The squirrels aren't even wearing their coats today. Be well, take care, stop to pause and breathe, and perhaps imagine an existence that is the stuff that dreams are made on.